Hi, and thanks for being here today. I believe anytime we have the opportunity to increase our knowledge about health and we take that opportunity, it's a step in the right direction. So again, thanks for being here. If you have tuned into any form of social media or news coverage in the past couple weeks, you would have seen the latest World Health Organization study claiming that red meat, and specifically processed meat, can cause cancer. Now, this may or may not come as a surprise to you, but for me, it prompts the question, how can we reduce or even completely eliminate meat from our diet? And specifically those who are living an athletic lifestyle. So I'm a certified athletic trainer at York University in Abu Dhabi, and in my daily life, I have the privilege of working with around 150 competitive athletes. Being a certified athletic trainer over the past 10 years has helped me to realize that I'm passionate about health in general. It's also helped me to realize that I'm passionate about human performance and paying attention to see what athletes intake and consume on a daily basis has helped me to fuel my career and my passion for promoting healthful living. A common term floating around these days is mindful eating. And when we're mindful about what we are consuming on a daily basis, we learn how to optimally fuel our bodies. Simply because athletes partake in rigorous training routines, people often question whether they would be able to consume adequate protein. So the question is, what is a plant-based diet? Well, if you look at the picture here, I can tell you it involves more than living off lettuce, which is a common assumption. Some people prefer the term rabbit food, but I can tell you that a plant-based diet should involve a rich array of colorful fruits and vegetables, grains, beans, legumes, seeds, and nuts. And once you become accustomed to cooking with things like butternut squash and lentils, then the texture and taste of meat actually starts to become less desirable. So a plant-based diet includes no meat and no animal byproducts. So no fish, no seafood, no dairy, no eggs. I have a friend who used to say no fun. And this leads me to the next question of why would we transition to a plant-based diet? Food allergies and intolerances are becoming increasingly common these days, especially to things like dairy and eggs. Environmental concerns may be the driving force behind the choice. And I recently read an article that spoke to the amount of water that it takes to raise livestock, and that number was shocking. Others may make the decision based on their belief that acknowledges animals' sovereign rights apart from human consumption. So health conditions such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and obesity can all be controlled significantly by our diet. I know a girl whose father had a heart attack at a very young age, and that prompted her to become vegetarian, as well as suggesting that he do the same. Personally, I love plant-based eating. I love fruits and vegetables, and I found myself even starting to love all these weird green juices and smoothies. I'm not strictly vegetarian, and I don't eat plant-based all the time. But here's my story. A few years ago, I saw a naturopath to correct some certain food intolerances I was experiencing. And she helped me to get on a plant-based, gluten-free diet. So I stayed on that diet for a few years. And at the time, I was also undergoing a very disciplined yoga routine 6 days a week. And as you find yourself twisting into postures that you didn't know were humanly possible, you start to really worry about what you're putting in your body. And at that time, I just simply realized that meat was making me feel heavy and weighed down. So just like that, I gave it up. Now at this point, I will occasionally eat seafood and dairy, or I'll occasionally enjoy the odd chicken shawarma. When I go home for the holidays and my parents, they put their heart and soul into cooking a homemade meal, and I'm going to sit and enjoy that with them and appreciate every bite. So sometimes it comes down to what's important at that given moment. But I will always maintain a plant-dominant diet simply because I feel better when I do, and I always encourage my athletes to try and do the same. So I recently surveyed a group of NYU athletes who adhere to some form of vegetarianism, and I wanted to see if they felt that that affected their training routine at all. So none of them reported ever experiencing a protein deficiency or even knowing what the symptoms would feel like. They all reported that they felt nourished and satisfied on a daily basis. Some of them reported using supplements to make up for what they felt was lacking in their diet. But overall, they all stated that in general, they felt better than they did on their previous meat diet. The biggest concern when transitioning to plant-based eating is ensuring adequate protein intake. Vitamin B12 is also mainly found in animal-based products, so ensuring that you supplement B12 or get it through fortified foods is important. And for women, calcium and iron is important and can be found in many plant-based foods, which people aren't aware of. So it's simply just a matter of doing the research. A few tips if you're looking to get started on plant-based living. Simply just make pastas and casseroles with black beans instead of ground beef. You can replace cow's milk for almond milk, soy milk, rice milk. Start gradually, so maybe one day a week. There's the new concept you may have heard of, meatless Mondays. Make it a gradual transition. I can confidently say that the benefits of this type of diet are plentiful and include improved digestion, clearer skin, less abdominal bloating, reduced cholesterol, reduced blood pressure, and the list goes on and on. So I tell my athletes who want to transition to this type of diet but are struggling with it, I tell them find your inspiration. Rich Roll is an example of a plant-based triathlete who at 40 years old found himself unable to climb a flight of stairs without being out of breath. And Scott, pictured here, is a vegan ultramarathoner who just in July of this past year completed the fastest time of the Appalachian Trail through hike. Broke the record for that. So, increased interest on social media attests to rising interest on a broader scale. And I think the general public is starting to become aware of trying new diets, and they're more open and willing to trying new diets as well. But don't think of this so much as a diet, as a deprivation of something. As Socrates said, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Thank you.